Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. Thank you for watching this video. So today I'm going to focus on Irac or Ilac method in answering any question in law. A little bit of information and definition of Irac. Okay, Irac method. This is a framework for organizing your answer to any law questions, especially when it comes to problematic question. So the basic structure is IRAC or ILAC. I'm going to discuss about it later on. So this simple framework actually been used for a long time to structure your answer well. So this will ensure that you have written the complete answer, especially the gist of the answer and the gist of the information that you wanted people to understand. So let's start. So what is Ilac? Ilac consists, Ilac or Irac, whatever it is. Ilac consists of issue, law or rules, application or analysis, and conclusion for C. So I issue is the main problem. When you read a question, let's say you got a question and then you need to check and you need to pick and extract what are the problems or the problem or the issue or the dispute in the question. Okay, then L or R is considered as law or rule. So in every single question that's been given to you should consist of the jurisdiction and of course the legislation or the law as stipulated or as per required jurisdiction as according to the local authority. And then under the L factor, we should focus on the cases, or we should include the cases or case as well, depending on the situation or depending on the concept or the theory of law that we want to focus on. And then A stands for applications or analysis or argument even. So after you have stated all the list of the jurisdiction cases, you have then to focus on the application. So the application is a vital part because you have to argue and you have to suit or you have to explain further why you choose the issue, you choose the law. And then after completion of the description of the reason, you have to explain your judgment why you pick this legislation or you pick this jurisdiction part as your argument. Okay, based on the situation, do not stray away from the question that being given to you, and then you have to discuss based on your perspective or even the theory of law, and always surround yourself with these legal aspects and of course the decided case, because the question given to you must respectively similar to the previous case or we call it as the precedent case. And then C stands for conclusion. So conclusion is not the solution. Sometimes it is just an advice. I always tell my students that you not do the settlement for the parties involved in the situation, but you are giving your advice or suggestion what the parties involved will do, should do, or ought to do, or need to do as according to the law or rules that have been given. Okay, so if you're okay with the basic definition of Irac or Ilac, so now we go straight forward to our first question. I'm going to give you this problematic question and we're going to see how to settle this question as according to Ilac or Irac method. Okay, the question will be Jimmy proposed to give his brothers RM1,000 monthly on the condition that their mother transfers a 1 acre of land to him. Their mother agreed on the said proposal and did the transaction later to him. Jimmy, however, failed to fulfill his agreement and his brothers sued him for the breach of his contract. Advise Jimmy. So let's see the question analysis. Okay, now that's the question. So in this question, Jimmy, okay, the one that proposed or the one that offer to be in the contract, okay, we call him as the offeror. Okay, proposed to give his brothers RM 1,000 ringgit. We can consider this brother as the third party. Okay, so the 1,000 is a consideration from him, okay, as the offerer, and this is the one that he proposed. Okay, the proposal is 1,000 ringgit to be given to his brother. Okay, but the condition or the consideration from his mother, okay, as the one that will accept the offer, or we call it as the offeree, will transfer a 1 acre land to him. This is the consideration, okay? And then their mother, as the acceptance of this proposed contract, okay, she did the transaction letter, okay, as an acceptance. She transferred the letter, she transferred the land, okay, to her son, okay, as the acceptance, and then this act is actually the consideration, okay. Therefore there is a valid contract lah. Okay, and then later on, the offerer, or Jimmy, the one that promised, failed to fulfill his agreement. That means he breached the contract, okay? And his brother, the third party, but has the same blood with him, okay, wanted or sued him for the breach of his contract. Now, your work is actually to advise Jimmy on the situation. Not advising the brothers, but you have to be in Jimmy's shoes and advise him. Okay, a note to remember, if you look at the situation, the parties involved in the case will be two sides, which is Jimmy as the defendant and his brothers as the plaintiff in the case, if this case has been brought to the court. So let us break down, and I'm going to answer every single part in Ilac or Irac, which is ILAC or IRAC. So the first one will be the issue. Issue is very important to be specifically described and of course mentioned in the answer sheet, okay, because it is very important to know the main topic of your answer and of the discussion in the question. So since the question requires you to advise Jimmy, I would suggest that the issue is whether Jimmy's brothers have the right to sue him for breach of contract. So make it simple but informative, and of course it is straightforward, okay? And then when people read this issue, then you know that the reader will know that Jimmy will be the subject of the issue, and of course what you want to see is whether the one that sue him whether they have right or not to do so, and we need to see whether there is a relationship between Jimmy and the brothers for the contract. Next, the L alphabet. Okay, L will be the law, or if it is Irac, will be the R will be the rule, and then O, we know that you're going to see the jurisdiction or legislation that involved. Okay, so moving to start this law or the legislation, you need to establish the legal responsibilities between the parties, and you need to determine the valid legal relationship of the parties involved. And then number two, we need to do the reference. Okay, so the reference should be as according to the local jurisdiction of the case. Okay, in this case, it will be Malaysia. Okay, Malaysia and UK as a reference, and then, or you can refer to India case as well. Okay, and then therefore you should refer to the Contract Act 1950. So what I have picked out, okay, from this issue and this question. So in this question, in this situation, I would recommend you to answer by looking at section 2, the general interpretation of valid contracts element. We have 6 of it. And then number 2, section 10 subsection 1 of the Contract Act 1950, because we need to define what agreement can be considered as a valid contract. And then into section 26 of the Contract Act 1950, whereby we want to see whether what is the agreement and what happened if the agreement is done without the consideration. So under section 26, we know that agreement without consideration is void. Okay, and then except there is an exception under section 26. You can check your Contract Act 1950. And then the specific reference of Contract Act that I dig out will be section A of the Contract Act 1950, would be the proposal. What is the definition of the proposal and the definition of the offer? Okay, so number 2 will be section 2 subsection D of the Contract Act 1950, that comprises of the element of consideration, a valid consideration.